Hey guys, so I just wanted to make a quick video talking about different types of netting that we've used and what I like and don't like about it, so maybe it'll help you make the right decision for yourself. So I haven't tested this yet, but what I'm going to test is, this is some of the hog netting from Premier One. So what I like, this is really thick and it's not flimsy, it's not gonna go anywhere. What I don't like, it sits up off the ground, which is fine so it doesn't ground out, but the bottom wire is electrified, so it can ground out from that bottom wire, and you'll see at some points, you know, it can end up touching the ground a bit here. So that's one thing that I don't like about it, but what I do like is these nice thick poles. And because it's hog fencing, it's a little bit on the shorter side, because, you know, the pigs are not that tall, so it's a little bit higher than what the pigs' backs are. And this other netting that we got recently is for the goats, and I'll kind of show you the difference here in 1 second. It's right over here. So this is the netting that we just got, and we've only had the goats in here a couple of days so far. But you can see it's taller, right? So for me, it's about hip height. The pig netting's probably just above knee height. And these poles are a lot thinner and flimsier. So when you put any tension on the fence, the poles flex a lot. Here, I'll try to get back a little farther. So the poles flex a lot when you're putting tension on the fence. So you might need to get corners set up, which means that this isn't like a all-in-one sort of solution like the pig netting has been for me so far. Sorry. Like the pig netting has been so far, where I don't have to set up corners. I can just go drive it into the ground and have it, you know, sit there. And because the poles are a little bit flimsier, you can have where the net sort of like leans in a little bit at certain spots. So my goal, and not that I want to end up being lazy, but my goal is to have as few different systems and have them be as efficient or effective as possible. And for me, so far, I'm gonna sneeze again. Bless me. So far, it seems like this is going to cause me more work because I'm going to have to drive in posts at the corners. Not that that's a ton, but if I'm moving them once a week or a couple times a week, every time I move them, it's another, you know, 10-15 minute task added onto what I was already doing, versus the hog netting, I can just drive straight in the ground. So what I'm going to try is, these goats are pretty small. They're pygmy goats. And that's my wife. Because they're so small, I think that the hog netting is going to work well for them. So I'm going to test that out and see how it does. I wish, and maybe there is fencing like this they have that exists, I'm just not aware of it. But I wish that the netting that I got, so the other thing that is nice about this is that it is 164 or 165 feet, where the hog netting is not that much. Maybe it's 100 feet, I think, if I remember correctly. So it is longer, and it's roughly the same price as the hog netting. So you do get more for your buck as far as length goes, but less for your buck as far as sturdiness goes. But I wish, and maybe it does exist, that there were the thicker, sturdier posts, but this like height and length of netting. Maybe it exists and I just haven't found it on Premier One's site or on Amazon yet. Chances are it does, but anyway, I just wanted to kind of give you guys the rundown of my experience with that. So I'm going to try out the hog netting, and I'll let you all know how it goes, and maybe one day I'll have like a real comprehensive breakdown of, you know, the nettings that we've used and how well that they have worked out for us. One other thing I will say, since I'm over here, And I'm sure something like this exists too. I just don't want to spend the money on new poultry netting because I don't have to. But the thing that drives me crazy about poultry netting is also how flimsy these poles are. I mean, it's kind of crazy. So you have to have your corners set up or something set up or other poles in between them in order to keep everything nice and tight and keep it off the ground. Now, it does well enough for the birds, like it's not the end of the world. But I think this netting was like $150 or $160 for 164 feet. I would have paid, if I knew what I know now, $200 for netting that had thicker poles, that I knew that I wouldn't have to go try to set up corners, or maybe it's a hot day and these poles are black and it's, you know, the net's just getting heavy and they start to lean over. I don't think that that really happens to any extreme, but it does at least happen a little bit. So anyway, and oh, and the other thing is these have 2 spikes. Ow, shocked myself. Here, I'm gonna pull one up really quick. So the goat netting and the hog fencing are single spike, but this one is 2 spikes, which means if you have rocky soil, which I do, it can be hard, just like right now, to get it back in the ground. And sometimes I have to try 3 or 4 different spots within a 1 foot area, or sometimes I have to move multiple poles because one area has just got a huge rock or it's super rocky. So if I could have something for the chickens that is like thicker poles and single spike instead of those 2 spikes, I would 100% do that. I'm sure it probably exists, but anyway, hopefully that was somewhat useful information and can help inform you guys on your netting purchases. Yeah, I'm gonna stop it here before I start rambling more. I'll see you guys next time.